Scarcity and abundance are opposites. Fear and love are opposite. There's two managers, same problem. If one of them complains and the other one adjusts, who's got the problem? One goes and solves the problem, the other one gets tired.
Do you think you could have time to maybe meet me at the gate?
I'm Rich Levene, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real-world problems head-on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
So, you got a new book? Last time I talked to you, it was Upstream. We were talking about fixing the problem that we're looking at and following it back to where it started. You've already gone through that book?
Done. On to another.
Boy. Wow.
Don't waste any time.
Okay, well, let's hear it. What you got? Book of the week?
So this one,
Book of the day?
this one is, well, yeah, we're kind of back to back, but it's all good. It's called Empty Your Backpack by Sam Demma.
I like it.
And so the book by Sam Demma, he's a young dude out of Canada, Toronto, Canada. Okay. So I finished reading the book, and in the book, he talks about tacos, and I got to try to remember the whole story. I'll get to it. But anyway, he said, so I know you understood the assignment. Go to my Instagram page and fill my DM, my mailbox full of taco emojis. So do I do. Fill it full of emojis. Not expecting anything. Not even 2 minutes later, I get a response. What'd you think of the book? It's like, thought it was pretty awesome. Covered a couple stories with him, went back and forth. Long story short is I'm sending him a copy of my book.
Good.
But
Nice.
that's not where we're going. So, Empty Your Backpack. What is the book about? It's a story. Everybody carries a backpack. What is actually in your backpack? Taking an inventory of all the beliefs or shit that we carry with us, good or bad. So it was pretty fascinating. So I was going through some of my stuff in my backpack and going, wow, I'm carrying that. So what do you carry in your backpack?
I got a lot of rage, probably anger, but at the same time, I got a lot of love, a lot of grace.
So
My backpack's full of rage. No, I'm assuming.
at least you're
Am
honest.
I on the right track? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what we're talking about? What's in your backpack?
Yeah. What beliefs do you carry? What's going on? Are you carrying baggage? So basically what he gets to is how do you empty your backpack? How do you get rid of the rage? How do you get rid of the negativity? And how do you fill your backpack with positivity? And his analogy is that the negative stuff weighs more than the positive stuff. You can put way more positive stuff in your backpack and it's not as heavy. And then he starts going down this road of kindness. And I mean, it's really fascinating what he did for a young guy.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And honestly, to me, like I personally don't carry a backpack. If I did, I'm sure it'd be like a briefcase, right?
It's
So I
the same
used
thing.
to carry.
It's like a virtual.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Do you carry a
early
MERS
in my
tie?
life, no, I don't do that. No. I got a Black Widow backpack, dude. For real. From Black Widow. Darren Kemper.
That's Spider-Man. It's close enough to Black Widow.
Yeah, I would have fell for it all day. No, but I think you're absolutely right. To me, I was talking to somebody else, something similar, from the perspective of somebody walks up like, man, you look great. Oh, I know what it was. I did I officiated my oldest daughter's wedding Saturday. So ran into a lot of people I hadn't seen in a while. And they're like, man, you look great. I'm like, well, I didn't really tell them this, but in my mind, I'm like, it's a discipline. Whether I want to or not, every night before I go to bed, I do a simple workout routine. And it's nothing extreme at all. It's very basic, very simple. You can do it. It's maybe 15, 20 minutes max. And what I've decided is this is a discipline. I made the choice, so I'm going to do it. And this, what we're talking about, in my opinion, is no different. And for me, because of my beliefs, my upbringing, my background, it's this simple. It's, do you want to take 10 to 15 minutes a day to sit down, maybe a pen and paper, and read the Bible? Okay, that's for me. That's mine. That's what helps me get through my rage whenever something happens. You know, we all have triggers. I have triggers anyway. Maybe nobody else does, but I can tell a huge difference when I take that and I apply it daily. It changes how I see things, how I see people, my attitude. And you're absolutely right. And you can stuff a lot of good stuff in a backpack and carry that around, and it doesn't even feel like you got a backpack on. So I totally get what you're saying.
So,
I believe it.
well, you bring up a fascinating point because you're carrying rage, but you're not ignoring it, right? So there's a huge difference, and he talks about this in the book. You're not ignoring the rage. What you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm just refusing to let that rage control my life or define who I am as a person. So that's part of letting go. You're not forgetting, you acknowledge it. We just have to learn how do you put that behind you? So tie it to management or leadership, right? We're not supposed to say that word. Tie it to being a manager at an auction. You're not going to be able to lead people going forward if you're dragging the rage with you, right? Because they're going to feel it. They're going to sense it. They're going to see it. And you're doing cool things.
Yeah.
But I do have a question. So I used to, when I was younger, I would work out late at night or play basketball late at night, do all kinds of stuff. But then I could never get to sleep. So I have to get up in the morning and work out. How do you go to sleep after you do? You said you did a little workout routine, right? Push up, sit up, something.
Yeah.
How do you go to
Real
sleep?
basic.
How do you get your blood to slow down enough to go to sleep?
Well, I've always thought I'm weird. So, for example, back to this rage. See, here's how weird I am. I honestly believe God has built some people to have rage when it's time to use rage, right? So it's kind of like a secret weapon. It's who I am. That's why I'm so open about it. I mean, dude, you've been around me. I make friends with everybody. I know everybody. I talk to everybody. How do you do that and be filled with rage? Well, I'm not filled with rage. It's a part of who I am. And when it comes out, it can come out and be actually productive. I mean, that sounds stupid, I know, but I've convinced myself that I'm right about this, and that whenever I go to the gas station and I see somebody doing something stupid and that might harm other people, now's a great time to kick in the rage, right? We can eliminate the problem really quick with Mr. Rage when he shows up. So I'm not saying it's completely bad, but it can get bad if I don't take the time, the discipline, to put everything good on top of it, or at least beside it. Does that make sense? So back to how do I go to sleep? What I do is I get up early and I go to bed late, and by the time I get to bed, I'm just completely tired. So I lay down and just pass out. It's weird. Something, you just train yourself, I guess. If you're kind of management, if you're leading a team of people, you're the culture guy, you have to have a lot of good stuff packed in your backpack. Otherwise, I promise you're not going to make it.
Go with me for a second. But I think what happens to a lot of people, so I might be the exception to the rule, but I've fallen in this in my younger years. So we're talking to newer managers, younger managers, people that might not have the worldly experience that you and I have. And they start coming up with excuses. Oh, we're short staffed.
That doesn't screw up.
Inventory's light. Oh, the market sucks. All those things are weights that we throw in our backpack that get heavy. Because then what happens? Negativity draws negativity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I can't believe it. Rich won't hire anybody for us. What the hell's going on here? And then we got to start shuffling from. So that's living in a world of scarcity and fear, right? We don't have enough resources. The market, I'm scared. Or we turn it to, heavens forbid I use this word, love, we can call it kindness, and abundance, right? If you live in a world of abundance, now you've just changed it, right? Scarcity and abundance are opposites. Fear and love are opposite. Why are you fearful of that? So let's figure out, two of them have the same problem, right? There's two managers, same problem. If one of them complains and the other one adjusts, who's got the problem? One goes and solves the problem, the other one gets tired, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. So just the way he explained it in the book was pretty fascinating. I thought it was kind of cool. I read the book really fast.
No, it is cool. And it's definitely applicable because, like you're saying, I've come up with this theory a couple years ago it was with somebody that was close to me. I would watch a pattern. So there's patterns. I'm a pattern guy. Find the pattern. So I would notice let's just use, for example, COVID 2020. I'm literally watching this person, watching the news, and literally see their physical appearance change to what you're describing as fear. So, and I've seen this before, and I'm like, and then words start coming out about the fear. Oh gosh, oh no, world's coming to an end, right? And just keeps adding to the fear. And anyway, so I've seen it in small instances. For example, oh no, we're about out of gas, end of the world, on a trip.
We're out of toilet paper. We're out of toilet paper. I'm not going to be able to wipe my bunghole.
So one of the things that I've noticed, or I think anyway, is it actually becomes a dopamine. Is a dopamine a drug?
Yeah. That's not a drug. It's adrenaline. It is. It's a natural drug you put in your own body.
Yeah. So you get some kind of a reaction within yourself based off this fear. And I'm telling you, dude, you can see the change like that. Different color complexion, different movement, different tone, different eyes, different ears, doesn't hear, doesn't see straight, doesn't talk right, just stop. And you can tell, man, this is really good. I love this stuff. And nobody would ever admit that. To the person that has that would never admit, I've got a problem, and it's a drug, and it's fear, anxiety, worry, stress, all of those things. And I like how you describe it, how you talk about it, the victimese part. Well, it's always somebody else. It's always something else. And I could see how that could become maybe a drug as well, but definitely it's a deflection. I'm not going to deal with me right now. And I think that to me is where, people like you, I've heard your story enough. You've heard my story enough where something happens. Some people call it, they hit the bottom. Some people call it whatever, but you run into a wall. And now you have to look at yourself. You have to deal with yourself. What are we going to do with Ty today? Are we going to let Ty just completely crash out? Or is Ty going to start picking himself up and putting the pieces together the right way? And that's the reality of it. There is a right way. And I know on this channel we don't talk about it a lot, but for most people, especially myself, that right way is a relationship with God and Jesus. And
absolutely.
Making that part of your life really changes things. So anyway, that's kind of where I think about my backpack.
No, that's fascinating. Your backpack, and you gave me a couple of thoughts when you're going through there. One of the thoughts I had, and I've been trying to figure out how to say this. So when somebody talks to you and what you hear, it's how you interpret those words that creates the emotions behind it. So in this case, you're talking about COVID, the news outlet, instilling fear. Now, imagine yourself back in 2020, March of 2020, it was right around St. Patrick's Day when all this shit broke out. Imagine if you're watching the news, COVID news breaking out, and it's in Italian or it's in French, and they're all talking about it, and you're sitting there watching it, and you have no reaction. Why? It's just words. Doesn't mean anything. Right?
Yeah.
So we attach the stuff to it. So that's part of your backpack, right? What's in your backpack? Well, if you got all this stuff, this magnet that pulls all that stuff to you and it creates all these emotions, well, then you're probably carrying some extra weight in your backpack. And by the way, if your backpack is farther or heavier than mine, your backpack is heavier than mine. Who's going to go farther, me or you?
You.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right? We got to lighten the load. How do
you made me think the term, phrase, whatever you want to call it. What you put in is what comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is, there you go. What's coming out?
Yeah.
Out of the, it goes out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. What's in your heart today?
If you help enough other people get what they want, you in turn get what you want. So another little fascinating twist I found as I'm listening to this book. I wrote a book. And in the first part of the book, I talk about self-awareness. We talk about the DISC assessment, right? Which one are you, D-I-S-C? Well, let's talk about inventory in your backpack. It's the same thing. It's self-awareness. What are you carrying in that backpack that's weighing you down? What's in your personality profile that's weighing you down? It's the same type of thing. So we just got to start figuring out, it's the first step to leadership. So when he came up with this analogy, I'm like, you know what? Now I got to figure out how to tie some of this together, which is what we were going back and forth on DMs, which is really cool. He did some really cool things in the book, and I'm like, dang. I was impressed at the lengths the guy went to. You know, and part of the deal was he wrote down in the book, he had a goal. He was trying to get, I can't remember the gentleman's name on it, but he was a doctor of something from some, I don't know, university or something. And he sent the guy a letter and said, hey, I want you to join my podcast. The guy said no. So that was the other thing, the power of no. And he's talking about the power of no in business, not power of no when you're dating, you know, somebody you like and they tell you not to do that. Different kind of no.
Yeah.
And so instead of taking the no at heart, he wrote back and said, I get it. I'm not good enough for you right now, but I would love to have you on my show someday. What does it take to get on? And he to get you on my show. And he wrote this to the executive assistant. The executive assistant wrote back and started giving him things. And then he replied back and said, okay, my new goal is going to be this, 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 and this. And when I get there, I'm going to reach out to you. Is that okay? And he got there and he reached out and the guy said, yes, I'll join your show. And he got his dream guest on his show. And of course, if you go Google him, if anybody's listening to this, I found him on YouTube. It just started showing up in my feed. You know how I watch the YouTube shorts and things that start tying to what you're doing. You and I are doing this. So things are coming through that fit it. And this guy keeps popping up. I'm like, this young guy's pretty cool. So I subscribed to his channel, started watching. I went, holy crap, he wrote a book. So I added it to my list and I was excited to read it. I read it. I read that driving home the other day. I already started another book.
Wow.
But
Good
anyway,
job.
hey, I'm trying, right? If you stop learning, you stop growing. If you stop growing, you can't lead. If you can't lead, you just will go home.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversation has helped to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.